The following clip was taken from Just Pearly Things, which is a YouTube channel that I recommend everybody follow. Let's get into it.
Pretty awful.
And this woman, I said she said she got 2 children.
And so,
and-
yeah.
sorry,
go
go
ahead.
on,
No, go ahead. Sorry.
She got 2 children. The last one was for a guy that she had a one-night stand with because it was her birthday, right? And the guy's walking around in the background. And I'm just saying, like I said, if I will go back to it, if women like this are raising the next generation, we are going to be raising a society of broken people.
So what do you
60 to 70% of all U.S. prisoners come from single mother homes.
suggest you do about a woman, like people like that? How would you? How would you?
Yeah.
I
what's
think
the
women
solution?
need. I think personally, feminism, women's liberation, has been a detriment to society.
I agree.
I really do believe
Well,
that.
there's so many different
It's
types.
ruined society. It's made women into slurs and whores. And it's made men, especially if you're a guy at the top, it's made us selfish and like it's made us jaded. Where it's like the value of pussy is nothing. And women are just giving it out here like it's candy. And whatever you have an inflation of in the market, whatever there's more supply of, the price goes down. And that's why the price of pussy is down right now. If pussy was a stock, pussy stock price would be plummeting.
Types of feminism.
Yeah.
Well-
I think this guy actually somebody on this show said it, and I heard them say it. Maybe it was this guy.
With this aggressive type, the first wave feminism, I don't have a problem with, as a matter of fact. This aggressive type feminism,
Like radical.
radical. I don't need no man. Men are trash. I don't know. I can do it all by myself. Okay, type feminism.
It's bullshit when they say they can do it all by themselves. Because even if they don't have a man in their life, they're on some kind of social welfare. Whether it's like they're getting money from the government for their kid or for themselves, or in some way, shape, or form. So it's cap when they say they're independent. There's no such thing as an independent woman.
For me, leads to women like this thinking that they can call up a show just to have sex with a man because she's an independent woman, right? She's saying she's single. She's just had a
messed
penis
them
inside
up.
her this morning, right?
Yeah.
And she's saying that she's single and she's on the show. But the thing is, there's no shame.
Yeah, I think the
There's just
psychology
none.
is you can do whatever
None.
you want and
You
there will
can
be
do whatever
absolutely
you
no
want. Yeah, there's-
ramifications. But that's not how life works.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I mean, it would be
Actions
great
have
if that were the
consequences.
case. I think we would all love that. But
But
that's
don't
just
you
not how
think-
reality works.
Don't you think in a similar way that's what men have been doing for
The problem
A
is that
long
women
time.
think they're
Wait,
men.
how?
so
Women-
men are
in what way?
justified in
Wait,
doing
could
that?
could I just hear how?
In terms
what
of
have, what have men been
Men
doing
and
for a
women
long
are not
time?
the same.
Okay, as in kind of
Not been doing, but they've been allowed to do, and they've been encouraged.
Kinda-
Maybe encouraged to, maybe promoted to
Okay.
do, or just they had a safe space
And watch, she's gonna say some generic shit.
to do it.
kinda
Do what?
like do whatever they want in that sense. Like if we talk about like what we mentioned earlier, like
Well, if you can do it as a man, I can do it.
side chicks, that sort of thing. Where it's kind of like an accepted thing where they have a
It takes tremendous amount of work and character development for you to get to a place as a man where you can sleep with a lot of women. But women don't have to do any of that shit. Even a fat, ugly bitch can get dick like that.
lot less parameters around what they're allowed to do sexually. So maybe a man's not calling into like a dating show,
But
but,
these
he's
women don't
definitely
wanna hear
you know
that.
having sex with a woman
That's
and
too
looking for the next
factual.
one.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
women
or
The
set
men
majority,
do
precedents.
that.
But women
so
set
the
the
majority, the majority of men historically haven't been doing that because most men don't even
Facts.
reproduce.
Facts.
Really?
Yeah, like most men throughout history didn't reproduce. Like
8,000.
So is it
8,000
is about the kids that you're more focused on, less about the woman?
8,000 years ago, it was 17 women to 1 man that reproduced.
So it's more about the kids.
So women would pick the guy historically. So they
And it's the same now. It's actually amplified even more so now with Tinder and Bumble. OkCupid released their numbers, and I think Tinder did as well, where the bottom 80% of women want the top 20% of guys. So that's why I tell guys it's very important, now more so ever, than to get your game up. Because even these average basic ass hoes, they want to be with the top men. So if you want to get any pussy these days, even these bitches, you're going to have to get your game up.
could have picked a guy with worse genes, but like women, biologically, you want to get the best genes you can to pass on to your kid.
So going back to what you said,
Yeah.
you said men have been doing it. The problem with this society and the problem with the feminist movement is that women think they can do the same things that men can do, and they can't. They cannot do the same things that men can do. They think they can, and they think that the consequences and the ramifications are going to be the same. They're not going to be the same. And so women use this argument all the time. Oh, well, if men can do it, we can. No, well, okay, do it, and then see what happens. Do it, and
Exactly.
we see what happens. If you've got a child, you know, from one night stand baby because it was your birthday, that child's now got to grow up with a mum who's basically a hoe.
Exactly.
Right? Do you know what I mean? It's just like women.
Recreational use only for most guys. I don't even deal with single moms at all, because if she's already had one kid with another guy, what's a second kid? And especially if you're a guy like me who's got money and cars and assets to protect, she's gonna want to come for those assets. So it'd be stupid to even mess with a single mom. They're the kind of women who'll poke holes in condoms. So stay away from them, man. If you have to, some of you guys, that's all you can get. If you have to fuck them, just be very, very careful not to get them pregnant.
Of this generation need to understand, and I'm not saying, I think this whole feminist movement has made women think that they can become the worst type of men that have ever existed in history.
Exactly.
So there have been
Yeah.
really bad men in history, right? And men have done really bad things. This movement has made women think, oh, I can do what those bad men can do. Those men are, they're fucked up.
They want to get even.
Do you know what I mean?
or
Like, those are
something.
bad. You don't need to be like the bad guy.
Yeah.
But and they also don't appreciate the good men. I mean,
Right.
I mean, you realize the majority of women didn't even want the right to vote because it came with you had to be drafted.
Okay.
So if you polled women from back then, they said I don't want that. And that's the thing. Women have been protected throughout all of history.
I also don't think everyone agrees with radical feminism. Like that's a very niche feminism.
Yeah.
Well,
And like
Generally,
to say
feminism's
that-
not that.
No,
yeah, the general feminism is about choice and that you have choice to do things. That always comes with a consequence. But for me, radical's not my vibe, babe.
Yeah, but
I
that's
don't.
the thing
To
as
me,
well.
to me, there's only one wave of feminism. Like I disagree.
Go on.
Feminism has always been about freedom without the responsibility. Starting with the right to vote, it was the freedom of voting without the responsibility of getting drafted.
I feel like you had something to say.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just listening at the moment.
Oh no! Oh no!
Stir in
I
eventually, maybe.
I don't think that was necessarily like the root of first wave feminism, though. I think that like
Speaking to the mic.
They wanted the authority without the responsibility. They wanted to vote without having to go to war. And that's what women do. They pick and choose.
yeah, sorry.
It was started.
That's why when they talk about equality, they're not trying to be bricklayers. They're not trying to be garbage men or sewer cleaners. They want to be president or CEO.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
So yeah, I think that like like historically when we talk about this concept of feminism, we are looking at it in Western culture, first wave being attached to that like right to vote. But I think historically also when we look at like majority people of color or people from like lower, more like impoverished classes,
There we go.
we have these ideals around like
Nonsense
women
is
who
about
need
to
to
come.
like be
Wait, nonsense is about to come out of her mouth.
we have these ideals around like women who need to like be working, women who need to be providing all of this other support systems for their community, which I think is also feminism and was also always there, even within those like first waves. of it
Can
as
I
well.
just
Yeah.
read you something that you might not have known? So, feminism was started in 1848 in Seneca Falls, New York. The suffrages had 200 men and 100 women. In the 1800s to the 1920s, they were seen as terrorists planning assassination. It was seen as a supremacism
Sit.
movement.
Sit.
I did know that.
Sit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sit.
So you don't think
Yeah.
even then it would have been
Oh yeah, it was totally extremist then. I
okay.
think. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So what are you
Do
talking
you think
about?
it's extremist now?
So that's what I thought you were talking about when you were saying
Yeah.
the first wave of feminism.
Yeah, well, because I feel like, I guess just in like theoretical discourse, you have like 3 waves and like into a 4th wave, which hasn't quite finished yet, which is what like, I guess we're kind of talking about now, like the radical like 4th wave that isn't done yet, right? We're trying to like figure out what that might be. But I think like whatever that radical 4th wave might be also isn't what the majority of women
Feminism in its current form is radical. They don't want equality. They want superiority. And these women are unhappier than ever. 1 in 4 women in the West are on some kind of psych medication. And that's a fact.
Or even like feeling or practicing
One
in
in
their
4.
everyday lives.
I also
Yeah.
think that, like, I think it kind of has gone the other way a little bit in the fact that, like, if you want to be a housewife, it's looked down upon. I think, like, the value, because, like, we live in a capitalist society, you are valued by how much money you make. Therefore, I don't know if this is true, it's my opinion, it's my theory, like, in the olden days, suffragettes were usually like middle class women with money. They didn't have any responsibilities. Like, for example, they didn't have any value, as in their money wasn't theirs, and they probably wanted ownership for it. If you're working class, if you were like bottom of the barrel, like, you were working anyway. You had to make money, right? So suffragette was not for people with jobs already. It's for women who already wanted money because they wanted to be valued in society. They weren't valued the same as their husband, for example. Now, I think...
Oh, you mean they didn't have to work or have a boss other than their husband and never have to worry about anything or the bills being paid or having to worry about predators like wolves and bears and shit? How terrible.
Today, it's not valued financially, right? It's never been valued financially to be a mother, especially now. Back then, you get married, like, there's a lot of child support. Now, like, you have to have a job and be a mother. Being a mother is a full-time job, and you never sleep. And I think, like, if women were valued in the feminine, like, typical female roles, then maybe, like, life would be better, because
but
I would love
don't
to be a
think you-
housewife.
Yeah. I
don't
But
think you
it's
have
just,
to if
it
you
feels
pick the
like
right
it's not
guy.
even a option
So-
anymore.
but you don't
could
have
you
to
have
if you
been
economically,
with
like...
with the first guy? Could you have been?
So that's the end of this video. Subscribe to the channel. Smash the like button. Because these women out here are making no sense. And I'm sitting here spending time breaking this bullshit down.
better. 'Cause
I could be doing anything. I'm downtown Toronto. I got 2 Benzes parked downstairs. But I'm sitting here talking about the nonsense that's coming out of this 4 out of 10 females' mouth. So, like I said, smash the like button, subscribe,